It's time for Bringing the Heat with Bryan Nolen.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is another edition of Bringing the Heat with Bryan Nolen. Yours truly here on this edition of the program. We're going to have Connor Hall. He's talked with our Michael Massie at Richmond this past Saturday. We're going to get his thoughts on a plethora of different topics. And then we're going to get to what everybody's been waiting for, the thoughts and analysis on the penalties to Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, and a former NASCAR champion arrested. We have all the news for you and more coming up. But right now, let's dive on into our interview with Connor Hall.
Now it's time for
Connor Hall live out of the race car. Winner of the 18th row Harley-Davidson 200.
Hey, I'm Connor Hall. I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Hampton, Virginia.
To Go Into the Inferno with Bryan.
What's up, everybody? Michael Massie here, and I'm joined by the 2023 NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series champion, Connor Hall. I've seen you win some Cars Tour races this year, seen you win at South Boston for their big race. But you're here at the NASCAR track making your Truck Series debut. How are you doing today, Connor?
Yeah, we're really good. Just got done doing a track walk, which is obviously a little bit longer of a track walk than I'm used to. So it's just really cool to be here. I mean, this is where I kind of became a NASCAR fan growing up, and to be able to make my debut here in front of kind of my home crowd is really cool.
You said you told me before that you came here as a kid. What were those experiences like?
So one of my godfathers, he actually was the jackman for Dale Jr. at the time. And then later he switched to Ryan Newman on the 39 car when they formed Stewart Haas. So that was kind of the time frame where I really started coming around, and I was just beginning my karting career. And I just remember being able to get hot passes and come in the pits, and I was meeting so many people that, like, in today's world, if I could get the opportunity to re-meet some of them, I'd be like, holy cow. But just like I said, I was just like any other kid coming here, and it's a really kind of full circle moment to be here.
And what are the feelings, the thought, any like pre-race jitters for today?
I woke up this morning and I actually I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I'm actually like way more like easy. Yeah, I'm way more chill than I suspected I would be. And I imagine once, the trucks are starting to warm up and I actually have a driving suit on, it's going to be a little bit different. But I just think that, like, for once I was able to use so many more extra tools than I'm used to having to try and perform. Like we have sim, we had live pit stop practice. There's so much information that the team and the spotter and everybody's already giving you to prep. So I think there's power in knowledge, and hopefully I'm bringing a lot of knowledge into this as far as how extensive our prep was, and hopefully that becomes executed and translates to performance.
Gotcha. Now, how did this deal to run this 91 truck this weekend come together for you?
Long story short, old crew chief / basically my big brother, Chad Bryant, he's pretty good friends with Charles DeNike, who crew chiefs Eckes. And I just always talk to Chad pretty much about how or where I want to plot, some career moves. And this was just something that was available for myself and the team. And luckily, Bill on his end, helped a lot and gave me a lot of opportunity and made it happen. So I'm just, I'm racing for more than myself today. I'm obviously racing for all these guys too. And I think I'm very thankful for the opportunity Bill's given me, and I'm hoping just to make the most of it.
You think if you go out there and run good today, you'll get some more opportunities? Are you working to get more in this truck?
At the moment, we're definitely working for more. I think it's obviously, the partnership aspect of this game is such a major portion of what it takes to, get these trucks around the racetrack and get them to the track. So hopefully we can have a really good showing for the partners that have come on board. We have AL Storage, we have Town Bank, a couple big guys that have really made this possible for us. And, maybe if we can wow them a little bit, maybe they have a good time and want to come back for more.
Yeah. You ran some ARCA races a couple years ago. Why do you think that didn't really lead to more opportunities? And did you learn anything from those ARCA races, running at bigger tracks for the first time?
Yeah, so my ARCA stint was done strictly on the super speedway stuff, and that was more of just I knew that I wanted to try to go ARCA racing coming out of the late model stock car world, and obviously like progression wise, that seemed to be the next step needed. And as far as the ARCA TV package goes, the Daytona numbers were significantly the highest. So as for for me trying to sell sponsorship, that just made more sense to approach businesses with. But I mean, at the end of the day, I really wish I could have had some time at like a Charlotte, some really good mile and a half stuff. But the number one thing I think is you get a little bit better feel of like kind of what to expect a little bit as far as they move around in air, etc. How these cars are a little bit bigger, they're heavier, different transmissions, so forth. So not a lot to take away, but like I said, a lot of prep goes into this, and I feel really good.
Now, Langley's your home track. That's where you came from. How long did you race there before you kind of got into the Cars Tour full time?
Yeah, so I started my late model career in 14, 15, and made my first Cars Tour start in 21. So I'd say a good 6-7 years of grinding out the weekly stuff before we really kind of tried to spread my wings a little bit.
Is it true? I read like last year you were working at as a broker for a yacht sales place. Are you still working there?
Yeah, I can't quit the bill payer yet, but no, it's something I kind of grew up doing. My family was in the boat business for a while, and we're as a family we're not involved anymore. But to be able to kind of still continue working there and have some sort of like legacy per se, I guess, and I get to do what my dad did, and that's really cool to me. That's kind of was my life plan, and it still is. It affords me a very good lifestyle. For being 27, I feel like I'm where I need to be in life, and I obviously enjoy it. A nice day on the water is not too much of a painful job, but like I said, obviously I'm here to try to afford myself bigger opportunities in the racing industry, and like I said, love my day job, love everybody there, but on really good circumstances, if I was able to maybe go racing full time, I don't think I would complain about it.
I hear you there. So you're doing what you hear the old school stories about guys grinding it out till 5 at the day job, then you go work all night at the shop. Is that kind of what your life looks like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of flexibility with my job. I'm very fortunate, in sales ever since COVID. I mean, everybody knows how it is. There's a lot of working remote and whatnot. So thankfully, my bosses have been pretty cool with it. There has been a lot of laptops sit on the back of a race car while I'm, waiting for emails to ding and stuff like that. But I mean, I would say for the most part, I'm pretty much your typical work day, 8 to 5 kind of thing, and then hit the race shop after, and just had a couple good buddies and had a really good run at it so far.
Now, Timothy Peters is a big truck guy. Obviously he comes from your world. Have you talked to him at all ahead of today's race?
I've talked to him like casually. We actually qualified side by side at the Sobo race, so we did a little chat in there. At that time, this wasn't. I think this was still kind of just an idea, not necessarily something on paper. So we didn't speak about it much, as I was just trying to keep everything a little hush on my behalf, and mainly that was just because I didn't want to go out and say I'm going truck racing and then not be able to find a way to make it work, and then kind of feel dumb about running my mouth. But yeah, I mean, Timothy, obviously, he helped form the Nelson Motorsports program, so it's pretty cool to kind of, I guess, be following a little bit of his path.
Yeah. Now, we've seen a recent trend where, like, the national champion kind of gets these opportunities. Josh Berry's gotten the cup opportunity now, like Lane Riggs. And now you're getting this opportunity. Why do you think, that wasn't really the case like 5-10 years ago. Why do you think it's kind of transitioned to that?
I think the main thing is now you have guys such as Junior and Harvick and, Burton and the Trackhouse guys, Justin Marks involved. And I think right now late model stock car racing, as far as like its platform, is definitely elevated to where it was 5 years ago. I think they've really helped put short track racing back on a pedestal, and I think maybe the sport's entering a new era where a little bit of the talent seems a little bit of the talent aspect is coming back, where if you can find a way to make it work financially with we have a visitor on the camera, but just like I said, I just think a couple of those guys are getting opportunities because they're finding a way to pair talent up with a little bit of backing, and a couple car owners have, obviously given them the shot to make it work.
Gotcha. Now, could Langley, you've raced at Langley a lot now, seeing this place, could Langley host a truck race, do you think?
I always have thought that places like that could definitely, South Boston definitely could. Langley has a great facility. I think Southern National could. A lot of those bigger, well-run short tracks, I felt like definitely could. And but the more and more I get to learn about, the upper series, I just think, like, infrastructure-wise, it's very hard to put on something like that at a smaller venue. But I definitely think the racing would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'll send you out with this one. This past week, Roy Hendrick passed away. He was a big guy in the late model world and just the Virginia racing world. Had you had any interactions with him? If so, then tell me a little about those.
No, I never got to meet Roy. I've obviously heard a ton about what he accomplished and what he was about. And, obviously since his passing, I've learned a lot more and heard a lot more about him. And it's just kind of unfortunate that, one of the so greats of what we did and where we've come from passed. And it's just, I don't really, like, I wish I could have met him per se. Everybody makes him sound, he obviously was very, very good at our level, and he definitely was something special.
I will end on a little bit of a downer, but that's Connor Hall. Catch him racing the 91. Catch him in the Cars Tour all year long. We'll have the coverage for you as well at Front Stretch. For Michael Massie, that's Connor Hall. Have a great day.
Once again, that was Michael Massie's interview with Connor Hall. He had a respectable finish in Saturday's Truck Series. But right now, at this time, let's dive on into our news and notes and all the latest on a jam-packed edition of our news and notes segment of the week.
What's still hot? It's time to upgrade you on the latest news in NASCAR.
All right, I'm going to bring in at this time one of my compadres, my co-hosts at M_Massie22. Michael Massie Jr. III joins the program. Massie, we don't have anything to talk about this week, do we, my friend? I mean, nothing happened. Oh, yeah. We had probably the greatest Richmond race we had in 15 years. First off, thanks for coming on to the program, buddy. And second off, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Still kind of trying to recover from running around nonstop. Like me and Trey Lyle was with me. We did some excellent coverage, if I say so myself. And it was a late night there at Richmond trying to get all the interviews and crank out an article. But we did it for you people out there watching and listening. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Let's dive on into the news and notes portion. It was announced that Austin Dillon's win would be kept by the number 3 driver. However, the win that will lock him into the playoffs, he will be ineligible with the victory. So he is currently on the outside looking in with 3 races left. Meanwhile, Joey Logano has been fined $50,000 for violating the NASCAR member code of conduct policy at Richmond. He did a little bit of a burnout in front of all of the number 3 crew, as well as Austin Dillon's family. Now, obviously, RCR announced that it will appeal the penalties. They said they were very disappointed by the ruling. Massie, they were very disappointed. They just weren't disappointed. They were very disappointed. Joe Logano says he will not appeal the $50,000 penalty. Were you surprised that they took the playoff eligibility due to the win at Richmond away for Austin Dillon, Massie?
What's the quote from their Tyler Reddick announcement a couple years ago? This timing could not come at a worse time or something like that. So for them, it could not come at a worse time because they thought they were in the playoffs. They're counting that money for getting 16th place at least in the point standings, and now they're back to 31st in points, I believe. So heavy hit. But you know what? I still don't blame Austin Dillon for doing it. He's still, what's better, finishing second and everybody forgets that you finished second, or getting the trophy and having your name in the record books for that race win forever? And, that'll be in highlight reels, I'm sure. that time John Hunter Nemechek roughed up Cole Custer, the truck race. That was dirty driving, but we still see that finish for highlights and stuff. So, I kind of immortalized Austin Dillon, I guess. But I think it was the right call. I think you can't have something like that determine who's competing for your championship, because then what does it do? It encourages what's to stop the championship for one of the guys from wrecking his 3 competitors and just cruising to a championship after that. So I'm impressed NASCAR had the guts to actually act on this and do something about it. I think it was the right call, Brian.
I agree, Michael. I think it was the right call as well. Unfortunately, what the wrong call of was a former NASCAR champion deciding to go behind the wheel when he was drinking. That being NASCAR driver Kurt Busch. A Iredell County magistrate revoked the retired NASCAR driver's license for 30 days. He was pulled over at 11:32 p.m. Monday after a sheriff deputy clocked his 2024 Lexus in a 63 miles an hour in a 45 miles an hour zone. Apparently, he was having a strong odor of alcohol coming from his breath and had red, glassy eyes. Massie, in today's day and age, there's way too many things that you could do instead of drinking and driving. There's Uber, there's Lyft, there's friends. It's just absolutely careless and just kind of not cool.
Yeah, and I mean, Kurt's got money, right? I know.
He was driving a 2024 Lexus.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
So, to you and me, an Uber might be a little expensive, but to Kurt, I feel like it's some pocket change. So, you know what? Just call the Uber, Kurt. I mean, that's just. I know you're a great driver, right? He's a fantastic driver, but you don't mess around with stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like, hope he gets. I hope he gets the help he needs. And, I don't want to see that kind of stuff again.
He released a statement saying, "I'm very disappointed in myself, and I apologize to my family, my racing family, and to my fans. I will work with the authorities to rectify the situation and work with the county to make it a safer place in the future." Once again, retired NASCAR driver Kurt Busch faces a DWI and a reckless driving charge after he got arrested for a DWI on Monday night. In other news, let's dive on into our soundbite of the week, where we hear from Mr. Daniel Suarez, in which he had a fantastic race because of the special tires that they brought to the Richmond Raceway and the first ever edition of 2 different tire combinations in a points-paying race. Let's hear in our soundbite of the week.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And short track race.
It's time for the sound bites of the week.
Strategy gives you a good assessment. What do you think of that option tire itself?
I think it's great. I don't think you can find somebody here in the racetrack that didn't like it. It was great. Big credit to NASCAR and Goodyear for bringing an option tire, and it brought a lot of excitement, a lot of striety, and a lot of passing. I mean, I don't think there was a driver that had more fun than me out there. It was fun.
Do you think it should be the permanent one?
No, I think we should have 2 everywhere.
Once again, that was Mr. Daniel Suarez. Congrats to Daniel. He got married in Brazil on the off weekend, so great job to him. Always fun to get married. Highly recommend it. But enough about personal matters.
Do it a couple times?
No. Just do it once. I mean, that's as many times as I will do it in my life. So highly recommend that. But without further ado, Massie, you were there. First ever time you had the prime tire, the option tire. I mean, for the love of God, let's just call it the hard and soft tire. But they want to put special. They want to put special words, and they want to complicate things. But whatever. I'm going to call them the hard and the soft tire. I think for the first time we finally figured out what we need at short tracks, and that is a different tire compound.
Yeah, I think that, even if you just went with the red tires, the soft tires, and didn't have two compounds, that would be an improvement over what we've had recently, which is a couple of slabs of concrete that they put on the car that would roll, and they call those tires. So I'm glad that Goodyear finally made something that actually wears, and it was before the finish. It was still a really compelling race with all the different strategies. Please bring back the options, bring back the reds, something for the rest of the short tracks, road courses, the rest of the season. We need it. We need that at Martinsville. We definitely needed it at Phoenix, right?
Mhm.
Imagine a championship 4 race where you got one guy out there on the yellow tires leading, and at the end of it, you got someone else like Richmond. At the end of the race, you had Daniel Suarez before the final caution. You had Daniel Suarez on the Reds charging through the field. I think he made up. They say he made up like a lap and a half doing that. He got to the top 5, so it was wild. It was fun. That the second stage where him and McDowell put on the tires and just charged through the field was so fun to watch. McDowell had gotten lapped before that. So that tells you he goes from getting lapped to charging his way into the top 10. That tells you how much difference the tires made a difference. So it was just refreshing to have what I thought was a really good race at Richmond. The track has gotten a lot of flack recently, but I think that the track plus the tires, everything just delivered on Sunday night.
Let's dive on into some final thoughts and wrap it up, brother.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
The checkered flag is out, and it's time for the final thoughts.
Thought segment is here. Whatever you want to rant, rave, or anything in between. Michael, Massie, James, Johnson Jr. the third. The floor is now yours, brother.
Well, is it mine or is it some James Johnson guy?
I don't know. No.
Jimmy
Johnson? Sure.
Come on in, Jimmy. But no, I would like to say that if the big catalyst and situations like this that we saw Sunday night will continue as long as we have a win and you're in format. Now I think the floodgates have opened to, they're not quite as open as they would be if NASCAR put Dillon in the playoffs, but what's to stop a guy from doing something maybe less egregious than that still knocking someone out of the way, roughing someone up to get a win and get into the playoffs and making NASCAR make the decision for them. So I just wish we would do away with it. Make it you could still have playoffs, but make it top 16 in points. If you want wins to mean more, just make first place double the points of second place. So that way you get a huge boost if you win a race, but you still got to have a pretty good season. You can't be 32nd in points and make the playoffs because you have one good week. So I don't know. I'm just tired of the winning you're in. We have a really compelling battle for that cutoff spot between Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Ty Gibbs. And isn't that enough? Why do we need some fluky thing where a guy has no shot at the championship, gets a win at Daytona in a couple of weeks, and is all of a sudden taking up a playoff spot? It should be the playoffs should be the best 16 teams. I think as long as you have a win and in format, that you won't. Oh, you're not guaranteed to have the 16 best teams on that year. You are muted.
Once again, my producer is doing more harm than good for my podcast. Shout out Trey Lyle. But anyway, I'm going to kind of get a piggyback of what Massie said about the top 16. I don't think it should be that strict. I think it should be about the top 20 in points because you could have a guy that's 22nd or 23rd like Daniel Suarez to get up to the top 20 and get a win and get into the playoffs. But you cannot have a guy let's say Justin Haley. No offense, Justin Haley. Good race car driver. I don't think he's going to contend for a championship. He goes to Daytona, gets a win out of the blue, or he gets a rain shortened race at Michigan and gets the victory there. Once again, no disrespect to Justin Haley. I just don't think he's going to contend. Make it top 20 in points. Is Austin Dillon, if he somehow wins at Michigan or Darlington or Daytona, is he going to contend for a championship? Let's be honest, no. I mean, they just don't have it this year. They're not Kyle Larson. They're not Chase Elliott. They're not Denny Hamlin. They don't have that kind of equipment. Once again, no disrespect to them. It's just sometimes it's not their year. And Austin Dillon has never been like that. I mean, he could be a great owner after he retires and starts up at RCR, taking over the company, but he's just not the greatest NASCAR driver. With that being said, I don't think you should deserve a playoff spot. Make it the top 20, and if you get into the top 20, you can get into the playoffs. But top 16, maybe a little too. What, Massie? There you go. Thank you. You finish each other's sentences. That's what pals do. Trey Lau would be like, "Wait, what? I don't know." Oh, anyway, sorry, Trace. You know I love you. Once again, absolutely uncalled for, Mr. Trey Lyle. But we'll have to see and wait what happens. Once again, coming up, Michigan this upcoming weekend. We'll see all the latest fallout from Richmond. You know what also is coming up? Mr. Michael Massie. He's got a fire on Fridays. And then plug your socials as well as whatever you want to be plugging these days. Mr. Puke Combs, as we heard on the Front Stretch Happy Hour show yesterday.
Well, I'm going to plug my phone in to charge it a little bit.
Sure.
You can follow me along at M_Massie22 on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And hey, you can watch the song I did for Happy Hour this week if you don't have the attention span to watch and listen to the whole hour-long show, which you should listen to it. It's really good. It's got some humor. It's got some great insight. Everything you need. So look that up on our podcast feed or our YouTube page. But you can also follow me along where I said and hear my opinions that are brilliant, always correct.
It's debatable.
Correct. And jokes are always 100% funny. So there you go. Just follow along as I will be going to a lot of races recently, so come along for the journey.
Yeah, Massie, we get to reunite in probably about a month from now. We are going to be covering the race in Atlanta together, the first race of the playoffs. That's going to be crazy. But you're going to be also going to the Milwaukee Mile the week before that. So you get a double dose. You got a double daily dose of 2 weeks and 2 races in 2 weeks, I should say. So that's going to be fantastic fun for you and all great content on frontstretch.com for us. Once again, our Front Stretch podcast networks managed by our great fearless leader, Mr. Trey Lau, is currently popping off through the gears with Tino every single Friday, as well as Stock Car Scoop with Adam Cheek. And then, like I said, Happy Hour with Puke Combs, Trey Lau, Davey Siegel, and then a rotating guest on the fourth roundtable discussion. We had Mikey Neff, who's always unpredictable at his finest. I never know what is going to be coming out of that guy's mouth, the good or the bad.
Grandpa.
Exactly. With that being said, big thanks to everybody at the sports program at M_Massie22, at Trey Lyle VT, once again at the Bryan Nolen. For Trey Lyle, Michael Massie, I am Brian Timothy Dale Nolen. Thank you so much for joining us. Talk to you next week.
What's up? Michael Massie here, frontstretch.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.